I was one of the people that said, I think the Giants are going to be much better this year. I will put that out there.
Ray Didinger, an NFL Hall of Fame writer, longtime veteran of Comcast, NFL Films, a prolific author, and a playwright. Tommy and Me was a fantastic play that I had the privilege of seeing. And Ray has a new play out called Spinner, which comes out September 17th, premieres at the Delaware Theater Company. Ray, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
All right. Boy, you are one busy man. I got to tell you, that's an impressive resume there, Ray. And you don't appear to be slowing down whatsoever.
So that's what my wife tells me.
Yeah. All right. Good for you, Ray. Good. And hopefully you'll keep up that same energy for the next 15 minutes or so. And thanks for taking the time. Week 1, the Eagles beat Dallas. I thought it was, I don't want to use the term desultory, Ray. I think it was just a workmanlike win. I didn't think there was much flash or dash there. Did you see any trends of note, good or bad, from the Eagles' performance in their win over Dallas?
Well, I think we're all kind of in agreement that the offense is going to just find its stride. The starters really didn't play the preseason. In fact, they barely practiced in the preseason if you get right down to it. Yeah. So I wasn't a little bit surprised the offense looked a little sluggish. I don't think they're going to have many weeks, nor do I think they're going to win many weeks when they get 60 yards out of Saquon Barkley and 24 yards combined out of Smith and Brown as receivers. That's not going to be a winning formula going forward, and I don't expect it to happen again. So the offense, I think, is just going to work things out. Defensively, I think some of the issues that you saw defensively are more concerning to me because I don't know that you have the answers in-house. I don't know that you have that other cornerback right now. And to me, that's the one thing that I came away from that, this is, some of this other stuff I think is going to work itself out. It's just part of the early season football. But the other cornerback opposite Mitchell, to me, is something, I don't think you have the answer right now. And I think you're going to have to address that. Some of the other stuff, listen, if they get Carter back, when they get Carter back in the defensive line, they'll play the run better and they'll be a better team up front. But they have to find that other cornerback opposite Mitchell, because I think what you saw Thursday night at home was that, well, if Kaylee Ringo isn't the answer, I don't think Adoree Jackson's the answer either.
Yeah, Sal Paolantonio was on earlier, and he zeroed in on the exact same thing. And let's face it, the Eagles have a tough schedule this year. They're going to start playing a number of teams that could take advantage of that. So you're going to have to do something to fix it. Not easy to do, right? Good cornerbacks are not waiting for the phone to ring. They already have a helmet on.
Yeah, I know. And, I think that the coaches – if you read between the lines, listening to Sirianni talk and Fangio talk, you kind of get the feeling that they thought Kaylee Ringo was going to win that job. They gave it to him. They gave him every chance to win it. And the fact is that in practice and in games, he just wasn't that good, And so Adoree Jackson was kind of just a fallback position, really. But now he winds up starting. And he's not your long-term answer. I really think not too many weeks into the season here, Pat, I think it's going to be Bennett. I really do. I think that when they made the trade for him, I thought it was kind of significant when I heard that they told him, take the red eye. In other words, get here as quick as you can. So he wasn't just an, oh, by the way, acquisition. Right. I think they brought him in here with the idea that they wanted him to get playing time right away. Now, Vic is one of these old school kind of coaches that he's not going to put a guy on the field until the guy has really mastered the system. As good as Cooper DeJean is, and he's really good. Remember, it was like 5 weeks into the season before we really let him play because he had missed time in training camp with the hamstring. Right. And then when you put him in there, he was great. Yeah. Now, Bennett, I think he's just learning the system right now. But I have a feeling that not too far down the road, he's going to get a chance to win that job, and I think he probably will.
All right, that'll be let's follow that because I think you're right. I think it's the one area of the Eagles team that's right now it's kind of open, and they got to fix it. Ray, I can't help whenever you're on. Somehow I always do this to you. I get you talking about the New York Giants because it's fascinating to me. This car wreck. I had a guest on just a minute ago. We were talking about the Bears, and I was lamenting about teams like Chicago that just can take any kind of potential win and turn it into a loss. I read the New York Post, and they're brimming with optimism, going into the Labor Day. About the Giants look great, the Jets, they're going to surprise, and then the Giants show up again. Is there any hope at all for that team, or is it an overreaction to say that Week 1 is going to be the Giants' season?
Pat, I got to tell you, I was one of the people that said I think the Giants are going to be much better this year. I will put that out there because I said it in a couple of places, so I know people heard it and they're probably going to let me hear about it. But I saw them. I always said that I would never allow myself to be fooled by the preseason. I've seen too many of them. I've been fooled too many times. I'm not going to take preseason football seriously. I've said it a million times. And then I think I allowed myself to be fooled by what the Giants did. I mean, I saw their game against the Jets, and I saw their game against the Patriots, and I came away from it saying, yeah, I think they're pretty good. I definitely think their front on defense is quite good. And I think that's legit. I don't think that was any accident. And I didn't know what they were going to get from the offense, but I liked what I saw. I really liked the kid, Jackson Dart. I think he's a pretty good player. I knew they were going to start the season with Wilson, but I thought they'd be okay. And I kind of thought, in fact, I told somebody, I forget who it was, I said, I'd be willing to bet you on Sunday. I'm not a betting man, but I would take the Giants and the points in Washington. I really would, because I think the Giants are going to be better than people think this year. Well, then they came out and just laid a huge egg game. And, so maybe, Pat, maybe to your point, maybe they're just the Giants, and that's what they are, and that's all they're ever going to be. I don't know how they're going to sort things out on the offense. I think it's sooner rather than later with Dart. I think if they go down to Dallas and lose and can't find the end zone again in that game, they might go to the kid the next week. I mean, they might go to him that soon. Yeah, but defensively, with Carter and Thibodeau and Lawrence and some of those guys up front, their defensive front is pretty good, and I think can keep them in some games. Their pass rush is going to be there every week. That area, they're definitely better. But offensively, they kind of look like the same train wreck we've been seeing for years.
They got to go to Dart. I wouldn't do it Sunday, Ray, especially if you're going to start Wilson. Finish the game with Wilson. Don't put that kid in the third quarter of a 28-0 rout. No. But I think he can't wait any longer than that. The Giants are going to revolt on him. So.
And I thought, and I really liked Dart when I saw him in college last year. I mean, I thought that people were talking about him as a second-round pick. I didn't think so. I mean, I thought he was a legit first-round pick. Mm-hmm. I thought it was a good move by the Giants trading back into the first round to get him. And then again, I know it's preseason, but I thought he looked really good. And they're not going to listen. Dable can't go. I mean, he can't let go too many weeks not scoring points. I mean, his job's on the line. And so, I mean, if they go down to Dallas and stall out offensively and lose again, I kind of am with you. I think they might go to the kid in week 3. I really do. Yeah.
I'm talking here with the great Ray Didinger, Hall of Famer and prolific playwright. I tell you, another Ibsen here in the Delaware Valley area. Ray, before we talk about the play, though, I wanted to, 2 other things I want to mention to you. First is Eagles-Chiefs. Now, I've gotten a lot of dialogue tonight on the show, pro and con, about how this game might play out. I don't see it as a revenge game. I don't think the Chiefs are built that way. But how desperate a game is it for Kansas City coming off that loss and the fact that the Eagles did manhandle them? Do you expect the Chiefs to go all out here to not go 0-2 for the first time in 10 years?
Yeah, I don't, Pat, I don't think it's really about revenge for the Super Bowl. I mean, the Chiefs just have to make things right. I mean, they have to worry about who they are right now. Forget the revenge thing. Is that in somebody's mind? Maybe. But I think it's more important that they just don't want to get to 0-2. I mean, that was a really a gut punch kind of a loss to the Chargers. I mean, the Chargers are a team that the Chiefs have owned forever. I mean, the Chiefs have owned the Chargers for the longest time.
Right.
And for them to lose that game the way they lost it, that had to be pretty sobering. And now they come into this game at home off the long trip to Brazil and back, which the Eagles went through last year, and then lost week 2 at home. Yeah. The Chiefs are coming into this game. They won't have their top 2 receivers. Rice and Worthy are both out. So, you got Patrick Mahomes, but he's got nobody to throw to. Right. It didn't look like they could run the ball at all in that game against the Chargers. I know that, and you know this as well as I do, that, Andy is very good about fixing things in the offense. I mean, he's a really good, he loves to fiddle around and come up with stuff, and he can generally work things out. But right now, I just think the offensive line, even though they've tried to improve it, doesn't look like it's a whole lot better. They're missing their 2 biggest players in the passing game at the outside. They've still got Kelsey. I think they're in a little bit of trouble. And, Pat, when going into the season, when we all look at preseason predictions, everybody's looking down the road, who's going to win the divisions, who are going to be the playoff teams, what 2 teams are going to be in the Super Bowl. I found it very interesting, and I looked at all of them, okay? I must have seen 150, guys in the media, guys that kind of know what's going on, guys that are plugged in, how they were projecting this season. And very few people had the Chiefs gone back. I mean, there just seemed to be a feeling generally across the board that, not that the Chiefs are going to miss the playoffs and be out of the running or anything, but I think there was a general feeling that, it's kind of past that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Everybody was real high on Baltimore. Everybody was real high on Buffalo. And boy, they played a barn burner the other day to start the season. And, that could very well be your AFC championship game. That could be. But it seemed to be that's where everybody was looking. And everybody was kind of saying, I kind of think the Chiefs I think they're on their way down a little bit. And what we saw in Brazil, that might be true.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right. And it is about time. I mean, how long can a dynasty stay a dynasty? Sooner or later, it's going to topple. It's just the way of it. And the Chiefs haven't drafted that well, and neither had New England. And that eventually that's going to catch up to you, too. All right, Ray. So, but you see Philadelphia, you see a big effort by the Chiefs. But, I mean, Philly's got the better players. I think the Eagles are going to win. What do you think?
I do, too. I do, too. I think the Eagles are going to win. I like them in this game. It scares me a little bit, with the secondary being what it is. Mahomes, if he had his full complement of receivers, could give him problems. He'd probably give him problems anyway. Right. But I thought Justin Herbert, man. I mean, he just took that Kansas City defense apart, and that late drive that they had to sort of ice the game. And Pat, he's 8 for 8, and it looked easy. I mean, it looked like a 7-on-7 drill, just bing, 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 bing. And I think that the Eagles, the Chargers kind of handed the Eagles the blueprint and how to play the Chiefs right now. It's a lot of quick throws, quick releases, and I think this is a game where you're going to see Smith and Brown get back in the offense in a big way in this game. And I know it's funny. Have you seen the odds, the point spread this week? Are the Chiefs favorite?
1.5. Eagles are 1.5 favorite.
That's interesting. I kind of thought it might almost be pick 'em, just out of basic respect for the Chiefs playing at home. Yeah. But if I had to pick it, looking at it right now, I mean, I'm not talking about huge points, but I mean, I would probably favor the Eagles. And right now, if I had to pick it, I would probably pick the Eagles.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm going to go Philadelphia too. Their team's not going to be fazed by anything, Super Bowl rematch or any of that. I think the Eagles are going to win this game. All right, Ray, you mentioned the Chiefs and the Chargers game, which of course was on Apple TV plus minus a week ago. Thursday Night Football, of course, is on Prime, and then Monday night there's a doubleheader. One of the games of which is on ESPN Plus, which you also have to pay to stream to view. I wanted to get an opinion from a veteran like yourself, somebody who really grew up with me watching the NFL turn into a television, Leviathan.
Sure.
Is the NFL risking a backlash here by pushing all these games onto streaming services, or is there just no end to the demand for the league's product?
I kind of think there is no limit to the demand. I mean, I'm sure people don't like it. You hear a lot of complaining about the games that are going to streaming that people can't get anymore. A lot of people don't like the way the schedule is set up. It's all about TV now. It's kickoff times, if the flexing of games. Now you're not just flexing games within the day. Now you can flex games from Sunday to Monday.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is geared towards it being almost a TV studio show. Right. And I know the fans don't like that. The older fans like me, and probably you, don't like that, the way the league caters to TV. Right. And people will complain, and they'll bitch about it. But the fact of the matter is, they're going to watch it, and they're going to find ways to watch it. The question that's been asked to me, people have asked me, especially now in the last couple of years, when you see how many more of these games are going behind the wall. Are we going to see a day when the Super Bowl is pay-per-view?
Yeah.
And there is a time when I would have said, oh, no, that will never happen. No, that'll never happen. Now I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
I'm really not so sure. But it bothers me. It really does bother me the way I understand it. I understand that TV fuels the engine of the NFL. It's the biggest source of revenue that they have. It's made all the owners, all the teams, and the commissioner very rich. But I mean, the fact that everything is about TV now is, to me, very bothersome. And the increasing movement towards more and more streaming, I find really, really bothersome. And I don't think it's going to stop. And I don't think it's going to reverse. It's just a question of how much further does it move and how fast.
Yeah, I agree too, Ray. I think it's here to stay. And your answer about the demand being elastic, if you remember your economics, appears to be correct. I mean, there's no end to people's desire to watch NFL football. And so it's more money for 32 people. God bless them.
Pat, when I worked 13 years at NFL Films. So I worked hand in hand with the great Steve Sable, who he and his dad did so much about the popularity, growing the game of pro football. Right. NFL Films was huge in that. Right. And there was nobody that loved the NFL more than Steve did. I mean, it was his life, for heaven's sake. And, I remember when they went to this Thursday night football thing and having triple header games on Mondays and all of this stuff that it seemed like there was football. It was like the NBA. Every time you turned the TV on, there was an NFL game. Right. And I said to Steve, Steve, I think there's going to be a point of diminishing returns here. I think there's just so much NFL football out there that I think they're oversaturating the audience. I really think it's going to be counterproductive. And Steve said, no. Nope. He said, the more you put out there, the more they're going to consume. He said, because people in this country love pro football that much that you can't give them too much. And at the time I wasn't sure, but the more I see it and the more I hear about it and the more I see how people are caught up in it. And make no mistake, fantasy is a big part of it too.
It is. It is
a big part of it too. But I'm starting to lean towards where Steve was, that no, as much as you put out there, they'll consume it and ask for it.
Yeah, that's it. All right, Ray Didinger, another play coming out next week called Spinner at the Delaware Theater Company. Why don't you tell us about it and what prompted you to write it? And there you go. There you go.
Here it is. There's the poster, and there's the Delaware Theater Company.
All right.
Pat, it was actually a story that it's a true story about hockey. And it's a story that I wrote for the Philadelphia Bulletin, the old evening bulletin, back in 1971.
Wow.
About the first NHL game played by a kid named Brian Spencer, whose nickname was Spinner. His first game in the NHL, called up from the minor leagues to play for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And the bizarre story that unfolded around that game, which I can't really get into because it spoils the plot, but it was almost, it reads like Pulp Fiction, what happened with this kid that night.
No kidding.
And so I was working at the Bulletin that time. I saw the story come over the wire. I thought it was an amazing story. I followed up on it, called the Maple Leafs. Brian Spencer actually called me back. We had a long interview. I wrote a story about that night. And he and I developed a relationship that lasted throughout his 10-year NHL career. And the whole story it's really kind of a story. It's a hockey story, but it's a story about a father and a son, and the price of pursuing your dreams. You know, everybody has dreams, and we all chase after our dreams. And sometimes we're lucky enough to live out our dreams, but there is the question of the price that you pay to do that. And that's really kind of the story of Brian Spencer. And I had that story rattling around in my mind for 50 years. Yeah. After I wrote it for the Bulletin, I could never lose that because it was just such a strange, heartfelt story that I felt one day I will come back and I would write it again. And now I have, and it's going to be a play, and it's going to be at the Delaware Theater Company on the stage, September 17th to October the 5th. And we got really lucky. We have 7 of the very best actors from this region that all signed on to do it. So I think it's going to be, I'm really excited about it. So I hope people can come out.
All right. So that's a week from tonight, the play opens.
The opening night. And by the way, right after that, Tommy and Me comes back. I know you came out to see it last year at People's Light Theater in Malvern.
Right.
That run went so well that People's Light has asked us to come back. So we're coming back, bringing Tommy and Me back to People's Light October the 7th through October the 19th. So if people have never seen Tommy and Me, and this is year 10 for Tommy and Me, amazingly enough, you can come out to People's Light in the middle of October. Go to the website, and I'll tell you the dates, and you can come out and catch Tommy and Me, which is a pure football story. And
I loved it. It was a great play, great story.
Really, people, it's amazing. People still come out and see it. It's a lovely story, and people have really responded to it.
Do you have the Delaware Theater Company website? Where would people go for tickets for next year?
Just go to the Delaware Theater Company, and their website will pop up, and you'll see the logo for Spinner. And just click on that. It'll give you all the dates and ticket availability. And we're going to have, because it's a hockey story, we're going to have some hockey people coming out to do part of the post-show Q&A like you took part of. So Bernie Perron is going to be there opening night. The Watson brothers, Jimmy and Joey Watson, are going to do one night, and Brian Propp will do one night. So they'll come in. They all know the Brian Spencer story. In fact, Bernie actually played with him in Toronto.
In Toronto, I was just going to say that. I remember Brian Spencer. I remember curly blonde hair. Yeah. That's funny. All right. Well, that's great. Great job by you. Congratulations on the play. I hope it's a tremendous success. All right.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, Ray. Thanks very much for joining me and taking the time. Look forward, of course, to having you back again as the season unfolds. All right.
I look forward to it, Pat. Anytime.
All right. Thanks very much, Ray.
See you now. Bye-bye.